Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time seeing my face on your screen, welcome. My name is Marilyn, but I go by Mare, and this is my channel, Heal with Mare, where we talk all things healing through the power of Jesus Christ. So, I made a video yesterday, and I'll link it above, and it was a reaction video to the viral Pop the Balloon dating show where a woman was rejected because of her short hair. So if you haven't seen that video, in my commentary, click on the link above or below, but you'll see my video linked. But in this video, I actually wanted to talk about Rebel. Rebel is the woman who had the short hair that actually wasn't even rejected. She was never rejected. She rejected him first. And I mentioned that in my video. I mentioned that her balloon was popped first. She was the one that made the initial rejection, but then he rejected her after Arlette asked him, is she your type? He rejected by saying, no, she's not my type. Arlette asked why. He then said, her hair's short. I go for longer hair. And his mother, who was on his necklace, has longer hair. So it makes sense that he would prefer longer hair. It also makes sense as a human being with blood in your body and breath in your lungs that you would prefer longer hair, because most human beings do on both sides, whether you're a man or a woman. Most of us, if we're being really honest, prefer long hair. Myself included, I prefer long hair on myself. But baby, I'm still gonna rock a short fro. You know what I mean? Because that's what's called radical self-acceptance. That's what's called being still with what God has given you and blessed you with. So yes, let's look at her response.
Episode 61 of Pop the Balloon aired yesterday, and y'all probably saw that Arlette posted a reel of the scene where the man in the blue coat tells me that I'm not his type because of my hair and that he prefers longer hair. And then Sandy, the model, clearly had a reaction to that and, goes off on him. I don't know how else to phrase it right now. And I've had quite a few questions come in. So I'm going to address those questions and this whole scenario. So when he initially said that to me, first, we need to think about the context real quick. If you saw the full episode, you see that it was me who popped on him.
Okay, so we did get some pop balloons. Let's go.
And when I was asked why I popped, I say initial attraction. For me, it's not that I'm promiscuous. I think just the initial attraction is the biggest thing. Yeah. And then Arlette asks him, now is she your type? He says no. The hair, I prefer longer hair.
And now is she someone that's your type?
Not so much.
And why not?
I'll say more so like the hair. So more so attracted to longer hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. When he said no, I'm not his type, what went through my head was, okay, what's he gonna say? What's gonna be the why? Of course, even going into the show, I had kind of thought, what are they gonna call me out for? Whatever you want to call it, call me out for. What are they gonna say is the reason that I'm not their type? And when he said the hair, I prefer longer hair, when all that was done with, I remember okay.
Yeah,
that
I remember
wasn't
that.
so bad.
Yeah.
You never know how you're gonna feel when someone's telling you what they don't like about you or what they're not into about you. But I remember in that very moment feeling pretty proud of, happy with myself that I didn't feel anything,
Yeah.
I felt okay, cool. And I think I was just happy that to feel okay, I'm at the place in my life where other people's words don't hurt me, you know, like they would have when I was younger. Because let's be honest, growing up with super curly type 4C hair, it was a journey. But let's pause on that, and now let's fast forward to Sandy. Well, after he said that all the women pop, and I remember thinking oh snap. I was like, oh snap, this is gonna be something. When I heard all of them pop, because one, I've seen past episodes where all the women pop off of something a man says, and typically it's gonna escalate and be something. So I already had that in mind, and then we get to Sandy, and she, starts going at him, remember in that moment, I was like, okay, this is not about me. Everything she's saying is not specifically about me. I never felt like this woman or any of the women were specifically standing up for me. This was, in my mind, undoubtedly a much larger thing, you know? This was about, like, just the whole history of Black women's hair.
I'm going to pause it right here before she continues to elaborate. I really appreciate her level of confidence in her own God-given beauty. I truly appreciate it. On the episode of Pop the Balloon, she exuded confidence based on her reaction and her lack of response to what the man was saying about her short hair. She exudes the confidence now as she's articulating what literally was going through her mind during the episode. And I just want to give her kudos, because I talk about this a lot on my channel, that even if the trauma doesn't start with you, it has to end with you. It must end with you. It's really careless, in my personal opinion, to put your healing in the hands of a human being. And when I say that, I mean, if you are so riled up and you're able to be re-traumatized so easily by a man simply stating his preferences, there is an issue there. We can't hold Black men, or any man for that matter, accountable to loving our God-given hair. It's the cherry on top, right? It's wonderful if there's a man who sees your value for who you are and sees your beauty just solely by looking at you and getting to know you and appreciating your God-given beauty. That is wonderful. Unfortunately, we do live in a vain world where it's very fleshly. It's very fleshly. We're not flesh and blood alone, right? There is a spiritual realm, and y'all hear me talk about, and you hear me quote Ephesians 6:12 all of the time. Yet and still, we live in this world and we're not of this world, but we have to remember what we're dealing with when it comes to the flesh. And on a dating show like Pop the Balloon, it's very vain, and people are going to be very matter of fact with their preferences. And if you go on a show like that, you have to be able to check your own trauma, check your own internal conditions. I'm assuming the best of Sandy. I don't think that that was her intention. I really do believe that she was upset. But you can't allow someone to control your emotions. You can't allow your emotions to control you. You're supposed to be the master of your emotions. You should have the authority and the power to control your emotions and not let them run wild and rampant online, in reality, in the real world, on a dating show. No matter what the context, just don't let yourself run wild like that. And the only way you're able to lose that amount of control is because, first of all, you haven't given that control over to the Heavenly Father. And when I say that, I mean your healing is in your hands and in the hands of Jesus Christ. And you need to surrender to Jesus Christ so that he can get you on the path to healing. That is where I stand, and that is my stance. I am bold with that stance. Even in the video, like when he told her he didn't like short hair, she was like, okay, and I heard her say that's fair, because it is fair. There are plenty of people who don't like short hair. There are plenty of people on this planet, in this world, who don't prefer short hair. And not for nothing, when we look at the lineup on the Pop Balloon Challenge, most of the women, in my mind, wore their hair either in a long style, like whether it was box braids or a long wig or weave that wasn't their hair texture, or they wore it somewhere like on the shoulder or just a little bit above. Rebel was the only one that had her hair shrunken above her ears, which is not the look that a lot of Black women go for, although when that look is not celebrated by external things, like if it's not celebrated by a man, if it's not celebrated by media, if it's not celebrated by the magazines, the tabloids, what I don't know, whatever. If it's not celebrated by anything external, Black women are the first to be angry about it. Meanwhile, they're not celebrating it themselves. If y'all really love short fros, wear one. You're not going to though, right? Wear a short fro if you're really about that action. But a lot of Black women are not about it and are not ready to confront that part of themselves, are not ready to fully heal yet. I feel like a lot of Black women believe that their healing is tied to external things, accepting them for who they are. Like even Sandy, the Black girl with the glasses that had her big reaction, that she went boom, right? Sandy went boom, and what she was saying was she wants a man that will accept her flaws and all. And in my last video, I said, how can you expect anyone outside of yourself to accept you flaws and all if you don't accept yourself flaws and all? And listen, I'm assuming the best of her. I know that everything that she said came from a place of hurt, from a childhood trauma, from a place of smallness, from a place of wanting to be affirmed and loved and validated. Yet and still, Sandy, the things you said about that particular texture of hair, this particular texture of hair, indicates to me that there's a lot of self-hatred there. There's a lot of internalized texturism, internalized self-hatred of this texture of hair and this length of hair, unfortunately. And that is something that only you can work on. That is something that you're responsible for. No one else is responsible for that but you, my love. And that's just a matter of fact, and that's just the way it's going to be. I've been on this radical self-acceptance journey, and I'll be the first to let y'all know when I'm not feeling myself. I'll be the first to let y'all know when I don't feel beautiful, or when I'm struggling to wear my hair in a shrunken fro or a wash and go, because it's real. It's a real struggle. But one thing I'm not going to do is relitigate the past or bring up the past and talk about, well, this is why, and this is what, and this is like, I'm going to talk about what I'm doing to move forward to get to the goal of loving myself wholeheartedly and completely, because that is what I'm here to do. Because if I can't love myself wholeheartedly and completely, then I can't love or have compassion for my fellow man, for my fellow sister. And that's when we have those fits of rage where we're just shooting out at the mouth, you know? So I really wanted to name that. This is very deep. So again, let's not put our healing in the hands of Black men, because if we are waiting for Black men or for things outside of us to affirm us, to validate us, to prefer us, baby girl, that might not happen for a while. That might not happen in the way that you want it to happen or in the way that you envision it to happen. So why not take your power back and put the healing in your own hands, right? Because when you have it in your hands, you can then pass it over to Jesus Christ. You can pass it over to our Heavenly Father to help you along your journey of healing. Does that make sense? Well, listen, that's what I had to do. You know, I'm talking from experience, because I was not healing. I hadn't had edges in years. My hair was falling out. I was depressed. I was downcast. I was all these things when it came to the way I looked and my my self-concept, my self-worth, my self-love. I had so many struggles with just loving myself because I was waiting for something external to happen to give me permission to finally feel pretty. Now I just step into my prettiness. I just step into like effortless freedom. And it's not always easy, but it's always worth it.
I think in general, we have felt insecure about our hair because of society, which is something I can definitely relate to. Growing up, I used to straighten my hair all the time. I remember in middle school swimming, I would try to get out of swimming as much as possible because I didn't want my straightened hair to get curly again. And when I was forced to go in the pool after swimming, I would stay in the locker room and I would skip lunch to straighten my hair. I remember it would always look terrible, but I would even skip class to be in there straightening my hair. So that's just one example. And I remember the one time that I got the confidence to wear my hair out, because every single day I either wore my hair straightened or in a ponytail. If it was curly, it was in a ponytail or pigtails 100% of the time. I never wore it without that. I never wore it like this. So there was a day when I had the confidence, I'm gonna say I was in 8th grade, to wear my hair like this, just natural. And as soon as I walked in the door, I probably hadn't even been in the school for 5 minutes, and this girl says oh my gosh, your hair is crazy.
Of course it's a girl.
I headed to the girls' locker room and put my hair in a ponytail and never wore it out again.
Of course a girl told her that.
School. Yeah, I didn't wear my hair natural until I moved to Austin, Texas, where I was around other Black women who had their hair like this, and yeah, which finally gave me the confidence. It took a long time. Let me tell you one other thing. I also used to relax my hair. I would get it chemically relaxed, so then it would, it was thicker, long, wavy. And then my hair started falling out because it was over relaxed. So then I go back to Minnesota. My mom cuts my hair, basically it was a pixie cut. She cut it all off because it was all dead. And my boyfriend at the time hated it. He thought it looked like a boy. that was another time when I had to just kind of work through things. And that probably made the comment the guy in the blue jacket made even less of a big deal for me. Like, I've had it where I had a boyfriend who, like, basically straight up told me he was no longer attracted to me because my hair was short.
Ooh.
So, yeah, this is not something that's new for me to hear.
Not okay.
But yeah, from there, so I cut all my hair off, and then I was planning to get it relaxed again once it grew out a bit more. And there was this black woman who had her natural hair, and she told me, like, girl, I think you should keep your natural hair. And she told me, like, for her, it's been a journey, but what she knows is that, like, she loves her hair in all of its forms. She has good hair days and bad hair days. Sometimes her hair is acting awesome. Sometimes she just wants to throw a hat on. Sometimes she puts it in a ponytail. Sometimes a hairband. But no matter what, like, it's her hair and it's what God gave her, and she loves it. And that has stuck with me forever. And since then, I have worn my natural hair. So that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was only 4 years ago that I started wearing my hair natural. All that is to say, I kind of feel like that type of thing is where Sandy was coming from.
Right.
Obviously, that was just my story, but I know that I think a lot of black women are going to be able to relate to that. You know, like, our hair, just feeling like our hair is not good enough or not, you know, it doesn't meet the beauty standards. So, yeah. So, Sandy goes off about all that, and like I said, I was just kind of there like, oh, snap. And I remember just feeling like I don't want to be in the middle of this. And that was kind of that. Okay, now I'm going to go for my run. I think I'm going to leave it there. Okay, I'm back from my run and out of the shower, and 2 things that I will add real quick. One, spreading hate of any kind is not cool. Like, people hurt people. Anyone who's going on anyone's Instagram or social media and telling them that they hate them or that they're a terrible person or that they're a disgrace, like, that says a lot about the person spreading the hate, not about the person receiving it. So if you're one of those people, I would look within and ask yourself why you feel the need to, like, to tear other people down. 2, like, anyone's reaction is always based on their own past experiences. I think in that whole scenario, like, as I mentioned, I don't think that this was about me specifically. I don't think it was about the guy in the blue jacket specifically. This was about a ton of other things. So I will say I don't think it was fair for this man to get all that heat, because really it wasn't, I don't think it was about him. I think it was about just society and, like, all the past stuff that has been there surrounding black women's hair, as I mentioned. And then 3, of course, black women can have natural long hair. Like, I feel like I don't even need to speak on that. I think that what she was saying, like, there's a lot more to it, and I'm not going to speak for her, but I will just leave it at, yes, black women can naturally have long hair. Both of my sisters have long, natural, curly black hair. So that's it. Be kind. Be kind. That's it. Also, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and I'll be back with more content. Love y'all. Bye.
I absolutely love Rebel. Okay, that was an instant subscribe. I'm subscribing to her. I relate to everything that she said, and we really have to handle these conversations with care. So that is exactly why I do my very best to ground it in biblical principles as much as possible, and reminding you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and reminding you of the fruits of the Spirit, right? To not spit back in anger, but to have patience, to have self-control. And I know it's not easy. It's easier said than done. And I also tell y'all, I know not everyone on my platform is a Christ follower, but don't expect me to change or shift because some of you chose to follow me. If you chose to subscribe to me, that is your choice, but I'm not going to change the way I deliver my content because there are non-Christ followers following me. So if, I literally got people unsubscribing to me in the video I posted when I reacted to the Pop the Balloon challenge, and that is okay. Like, I really do want this platform to be a safe space, an honest space, a very bold space. But if it's no longer for you, that is totally fine. Like, if this part of my journey is no longer for you, that's fine. But yeah, like, I really, really do feel for Sandy. Like I said in my last video, my heart goes out to her, like I said, and I know it's coming from a place of hurt and unhealed trauma and demonic agendas, because there is a demonic agenda against the Black woman. It's been there since the beginning of time. It's been there for a very long time. And I talk about things like the Jezebel spirit. I talked about the book of Isaiah, where they talk. There's a chapter in the book of Isaiah where it talks about how haughtiness, pride, being overly sexual will cause God to give us a scab on our scalps. If I find the Bible verse, I'll put it here. So yeah, like, I can't not bring that into my content. But I really loved hearing her perspective, and she said it, like, we have to love the hair that God blessed us with. This is the way we look. This is our aesthetic, and it's okay to admire the aesthetic of other groups of women and of other races of women, but admiring it and then is totally different than trying to adopt it and wear it as your own. Give a girl a compliment. If you see a girl who's ambiguous, who looks beautiful, give her a compliment. Allow her to experience the men who desire her, and give yourself the chance to experience the men who truly desire you for you. And no, I don't believe that you can truly be you if you haven't fully accepted your God-given hair, because that's just not really who you are. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, when you wake up in a wig or a texture that's not yours, that's not you, and it's not you. And that's why there's a protective mechanism and a vulnerability and a spitting out of anger when a man tells another woman that he is not attracted to her authentic self, because you're wondering, if I present as my most authentic self, will I be rejected? The answer is potentially, but be okay with that. Be okay with God's protection. Be okay with God's provision. Allow those who see you beautiful to be beautiful, right? To see you as beautiful. I said this before last year in a video like 10 months ago. Be beautiful for the people that you are meant to be beautiful for. And that is effortless. That means you show up as yourself with your head held high and you just be, because you are a human being. Be you, be beautiful. Accessorize yourself, right? Play up your beautiful features, adorn your beautiful features, enhance your beautiful features, but never cover up your beautiful features and then get upset at a man for having a certain preference. I really would love a world where Black women would wear wear their hair on display, like, as it grows out of their scalp, so that we have more of that visual, so that we can normalize that, not only for ourselves but for the receiver, right? Normalize that for more Black men, normalize that for white men, for Asian men, normalize that for people to see us as who we are, because it's such a disservice that we are playing so small as Black women with this hair texture. And again, like, a lot of y'all will say it's not that deep, it's not that deep, but really dig into your heart posture. Again, as always, take it to Jesus, because I know sometimes my videos will convict some women, but this is my conviction. My conviction is that our God-given hair is beautiful. I've chosen to wear my God-given hair. I see, like, white Latinas doing it. I see white women doing it. I see Asian women doing it. And it's a beautiful thing that they can do it, but I don't ever want to make it seem like I can't do it because of society. Nah. I said I'm done with that. Life is mad short. I could literally die tomorrow and I wouldn't have ever been myself. That's bonkers. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching this video. If you got to the end, leave your thoughts below. I really think that Rebel was super poised, super well spoken, and super considerate with the way she delivered her messaging. I completely agree with her. I think, we got to be gentle with one another, and I mean that by, like, gentle with our Black men too, who are also in this world with us, getting fed these messages. We just got to be gentle with one another, point blank period, and never force a man to prefer you. Never force anyone to have a preference for you. Go where you're celebrated, detach from the acceptance of others, and just allow things to be what they're going to be. because that is the will of God. That's the will of God for your life. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.